Members, in the absence of any correction of the official reports of 23rd July 2026 and 24th July 2026, we take it that the two official reports are hereby adopted as the true record of proceedings of those 2 days. Honorable members, I have to call on the First Deputy Speaker to take the chair. There's a call for me to come to perform a function somewhere, so I'll be coming back to assist my deputies to complete the day's work. First Deputy Speaker to take the chair. Whilst we wait on him, I want to employ members to take some 2 bills today and do all you can. They are not difficult bills to complete them. The first one, as you recall, is the Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill, which you took through the 3rd reading and passed. During the due process to capture all your decisions, a few things were discovered, and we have to fine-tune them before we can finalize it. So I have directed that a rescission motion be made so that you can rescind your decision of the 3rd reading and then pass it through a 2nd consideration stage to refine the text as so captured in the draft. After that is done, you can do the 3rd reading. I think it's only 3 areas. One dealing with the harmonization of the sentencing regime, that's sanctions sections, and the others dealing with some 2 phraseologies. That is one. And the second one had to deal with the very important bill which deals with the amendment of the Constitution, dual citizenship, dual nationality, and this is something that the country agrees with. It's not controversial, and I think there are about 2 or 3 clauses. You can get that through and then get it passed with. Then you can go to the others. And that's why I wanted to preside for us to get this done, but I've been called to come to a very important function and have to rush there. So I've discussed with my deputies and your leaders, and they will lead the House to do this. With this, I thank all of you for your support.
Honorable members, permit me to acknowledge the presence of our dear students visiting us. We have Some Senior High School, led by Mauko Atisu, William Akbe, teacher, head of department. They are from Ketu South, the number 29. We also have Kliko Senior High School, led by Richard Fidel Agbeko Bedi, headmaster. They are from Ketu South, the numbered 55. And the headmaster is my constituent. We have Brong Ahafo Student Union, UG chapter, led by Nti Frida Oforiwa, Vice President. They are from Sunyani West, they numbered 35. We have Anglong Senior High School, led by Etoko J, a teacher from Anglong, they numbered 105. We have Pentecost Preparatory School, Aflau, led by Mavis Mensah, headmistress, Ketu South. They numbered 42. We have Ghana National Tailors and Dressmakers Association, led by Abdulaziz Ali, regional chairman. They are from Ayawaso North. They numbered 52. Then we have University of Skills Training and Entrepreneurial Development, led by Esther Kropa. Speaker, they are from Kwadaso. They numbered 16. Honourable members, on your behalf, I welcome our dear students to Parliament of Ghana and urge them to have a fruitful visit. Your respective MPs will accordingly address you. Thank you for coming. Yes, Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker,
Majority Leader, I understand we have to take a
statement.
Statement
Yes.
in memory of our former MP,
Yes.
Philip Baho.
Yes, so we can do that.
Very well. So, very well. Very well. I'll give the floor to the Honorable Minister for Tourism, our own Mama Jifa Abla Gomashi. You have the floor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the opportunity given me is truly appreciated to read a tribute for an illustrious son of the land, remembering Honorable James Victor Baho. There are some lives that are measured by the offices they held. Others are measured by the people they touched, the conflicts they calmed, and the quiet example they left behind. Ambassador James Victor Baho belonged unmistakably to the latter. The Parliament of Ghana joins the nation to mourn and to celebrate with gratitude the life of this illustrious son of the land, a distinguished diplomat, noble parliamentarian, and statesman. His passing at the ripe age of 91 makes the close of an extraordinary chapter in Ghana's diplomatic history, in the story of African multilateralism. Some lives resemble monuments, impressive yet distant, but the monumental life of H.E. Victor Baho was that of a river, always moving, always nourishing, never announcing its own presence, like the anthem that his father taught the nation to sing itself into being. Honorable Victor James Baho would spend his own life composing something far harder to set to music, the delicate, distant harmony of nations. He was one of those rare diplomats who never mistook power for greatness. While others sought influence through commanding speeches and public acclaim, he inspired confidence through quiet presence, patient listening, and an almost effortless wisdom. His authority did not fill rooms with noise. It filled them with calm. He was never incendiary, always persuasive without being combative, witty without ridicule, scholarly without pretension. In a profession often crowded with formidable egos, his own was almost invincible. He mentored not through lectures, but through example. Every conversation, every negotiation, and every silence became a lesson in restraint, empathy, and wisdom. His was the diplomacy of quiet conviction. As a member of parliament for the people of the Anglo constituency, he carried into the House the same grace, civility, and measured judgment that had distinguished him across the world's diplomatic stages. In him, Parliament found not merely a legislator, but a statesman whose contributions reflected a lifetime spent advancing dialogue over discord and consensus over confrontation. When the issues of lack of activity by the erstwhile Organization of African Unity arose on the floor of the House, ever the excellent diplomat, Honorable Victor Gbeho had this to say in defense of the OAU's performance. I quote, "Mr. Speaker, first of all, I think we ought to understand the conflict that we have on this continent, at the same time, is not inspired by the lack of activity of the OAU. The conflicts have in many countries the conflicts we have in many countries on the African continent today have a direct result of the poverty situation that we have on this continent. It is a human phenomenon that when national cakes do not disappear or appear in very small measures, the people struggle to keep for themselves. It is by no accident, therefore, that we find that the states that are in conflict, the states that are failing today, are also predominantly the least developed countries," unquote. Parliament Debate 4th Series, Volume 29, Number 11, was delivered Thursday, 24th May 2001. As a member, he was keen on consensus building, always mindful of the lot of the common person and how the House can advance the common good instead of towing political lines. I quote again, "Mr. Speaker, the final point that I want to make is that in serving the good people of Ghana, sometimes we shall try to form a consensus that will try to improve the lot of the Ghanaian than advance political arguments. There is no doubting of the fact that today costs have risen unprecedentedly in our country. There's no denying the fact that in the present country that we are serving, food costs have gone up unprecedentedly. And this is the crux of what is being said here. What we need to do is to address our minds to what we can do together on both sides of the House in order to improve the situation." Parliamentary Debate 4 Series 29, Number 27, Thursday, 21st June 2021. In an age where public discourse is often dominated by noise, Ambassador James Victor Gbeho reminds us that wisdom still resides in quiet confidence, that influence need not to be loud to be lasting, and that true greatness is found not in prominence, but in service. The Parliament of Ghana honors his memory with profound gratitude. The diplomat has laid down his brief. The parliamentarian has spoken his last word. The peacemaker has crossed the final frontier. Yet silence has not claimed him. For there are lives that continue speaking after the voice has ceased, and there are men whose greatest speeches are not found in the Hansard, but in the hearts they quietly transformed. And while some men enter history like thunder, announcing themselves with pomp and briefly shakes the earth, others arrive like rain, quietly, patiently. They ask for no attention. Yet long after the thunder has been forgotten, it is the rain that makes the fields green. Honorable Victor Gbaho did not enter history by force. He persuaded it by character. May future generations of public servants draw inspirations from his example, and may all who labor in the service of Ghana strive to emulate his humility, his courage, and his unwavering commitment to peace, justice, and the common good. As we gather to bid our final farewells to him, we do not simply mourn a man. We lower the flagpole that has stood unbending for the better part of a century. And we ask the archangels and the wind to carry gently his name a little further than it has already traveled. Fare thee well, Honorable James Victor Gbaho. You served your nation with distinction. You honored your continent with grace. You enriched the world through quiet diplomacy. May the Almighty grant you eternal rest, and may your gentle spirit continue to inspire all who believe that the noblest form of leadership is selfless service. Jujo lang tita vavama. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Rest in perfect peace. Thank you so much. Honourable members, that is the tribute in honor of Honorable James Victor Gbaho. The floor is now open for comment. Yes, Honorable Sapper.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. I would like to thank my revered sister, Honorable Ablaji Fagobachi, for studying for me. That's a mark of a good sistership. I wish you well. Mr. Speaker, the man we are talking about, His Excellency, and I can add Honorable Victor Gbaho, was no mean a person. If you talk of expressing somebody's willpower, he is number one. You talk of leadership role, Honorable Gbaho stood very tall. Those who knew him knows that he is somebody who is very cool and collected, very quiet, but very vibrant. That was the man, Honorable Gbaho. Gbaho, when he came to the area, he stood as an independent candidate and performed excellently. Till now, the way he carried himself was par excellence. And I could tell you on authority that that sort of leadership is just not available for now. Though I was trying to copy him, the more I tried, the more I failed. Mr. Speaker, this man, Honorable Gbaho, introduced what we call in the area as a welfare system that we call Safisasa. That welfare system, I've been able to improve upon it, and anybody who stands to be a member of NDC, be it at branch level or be it a non-executive membership, the person is allowed to stand or to contribute. And this helps in terms of whenever a member falls sick or whenever a member demised. So whenever we visit the funeral, you will see that everybody will be happy that we belong to a particular party that we call NDC. He initiated this kind of move, and I came to add up to it. Honorable Speaker, I am not qualified to explain who he was when he was on this international affairs globe trotting. People are there to talk about him. I just want to say that we, the people of Anglo, we lost a very important person. He has left a lot of legacies that it will get a lot of time for us to match up with. These are the people we cherish in Anglo land. Though you will not see them being boisterous, you will still believe the fact that they are the people who hit the ground running whenever situations unfold. It is on this note that on behalf of the good people of Anglo and on my good self-behalf, I'd like to say, Dumagan, Jujo, Ntiva Farmer. The people of Anglo are really proud of you. May you have a safe journey. Thank you for the opportunity.
Let's have the interpretation of Dumaga Jujo Ntiva Farmer. Yes.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to the statement read by our Minister for Tourism. Mr. Speaker, I had the opportunity to represent the leadership of minority when the family of the late His Excellency Behu, Victor Behu, paid a courtesy call on Parliament to inform Parliament officially of his demise. It was a very solemn moment. Though His Excellency lived for 91 years, it is very trite for almost everybody who has lived in Ghana for his generation from the 80s through the 90s to acknowledge his contribution to Ghana's democracy and development. Mr. Speaker, clearly Ambassador Behu, who also served as a member of Parliament for the good people of Anglo 2001-2005, is one of our own. And so it is very befitting as a house that we pay glowing tribute to him. Ambassador Behu proceeded to ECOWAS Commission to serve as the president of ECOWAS Commission. And if you read the reports from ECOWAS Commission, it is very instructive to note that his calmness and his leadership was par excellence. Mr. Speaker, it is also clear that His Excellency Victor Behu played a leading role at the United Nations level for decades. He had the opportunity to represent the people of Ghana as an astute diplomat over the past for about 20 to 30 years at the UN. One interesting thing is that Honorable Victor Behu, as I understand, is the son of Mr. Philip Behu, the one who composed or put together Ghana's national anthem. And so this is a man who is coming from a very rich family which is committed to this country, Ghana. He also served as an uncle of one of our own, Komla Dumo, may his soul rest in perfect peace, who was also a broadcast journalist of very much international repute. today, as we celebrate him, actually this morning when I was going to my office, I saw his poster along our lift, and I was like, wow, tomorrow we are going to pay tribute to His Excellency Victor Gbehu. On behalf of the good people of Ifia constituency that I represent, and also as a member of this house, I would like to extend my deepest condolence to the family of His Excellency Victor Gbehu, to the good people of Ghana, to NDC, which he served passionately, even as an advisor to His Excellency, the President of the Republic, President Atta Mills, as a foreign diplomat. I want to extend my deepest condolence to the NDC fraternity. It is not only NDC that has lost a gem, but Ghana has lost one of its very, very useful patriots. And we wish the Lord to keep his soul in perfect peace. Mr. Speaker, I would like to end here with these few words and tell all of us as the people of Ghana that given this opportunity as members of parliament as we serve, we should also commit to some of the discipline that he exhibited, his calmness, his leadership, and his fortitude to serve the good people of Ghana. On this note, Mr. Speaker, I want to thank you for the treasure space. I thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, Honorable Frank Afriyie.
Most grateful, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to also add few words in eulogizing in a manner that is beyond debate one of Ghana's most foremost diplomats. Indeed, whilst at that, Mr. Speaker, I want to first of all thank the maker of the statement, my own senior, Honorable Jifa Abla-Gomashi, for a piece that is, of course, well-researched and sits at the heart of how and who we know the late Ambassador James Victor Gbeho to be. Ambassador James Victor Gbeho, without doubt, was a warrior of the Anglo land, a true son of Volta, and one of the best and shining examples of Ghana till his passing. Mr. Speaker, he was indeed a distinguished diplomat who waved the flag of this country in and outside the shores of this country in a manner that could be described as excellent. He extolled the virtues of the country and our policy of non-alignment. He carried it with all the force that he could marshal. Mr. Speaker, Ambassador James Gbeho was indeed witty, scholarly, and mentally resourceful. Indeed, he was a consummate politician. At an age where I was still studying in the university, there was supposed to be a by-election between Ambassador James Gbeho and the late Clarence Sow, if my memory serves me right. And anyone who knew Honorable Clarence Sow those days, and for a new candidate to come head-on in a competitive election with him, in a landscape, political landscape like the Volta region where the NDC shines and continue to shine. Of course, without any research, anyone could conclude that the late Honorable Sow was going to win. By whichever means, I have not had the opportunity to sit with him one-on-one, to tell me what the strategy was, to tell me what the secret was, but he won, hands down. And indeed, whatever ensued after that competitive election, I think the jury and the verdict lies with the good people of the Anglo constituency. And just like the honorable member has said, he has served creditably well. Mr. Speaker, I took an inspiration in part of the statement which has to do with a quote attributed to the late ambassador. And that is to the effect that this House, as honorable members as we are, we must develop consensus and advance credible debate on issues that will advance the cause of our constituents, issues that will move this nation forward, the bread and butter issues, matters of social services and infrastructure. This is what the ordinary Ghanaian is looking for. By the architecture of our democracy, Mr. Speaker, we are here simply because all the 38 or 37 million Ghanaians cannot be in this chamber. We have a rare privilege of representing our constituents. What matters to them is what will improve their standard of living and reduce the cost of living. So this was an ardent crusader of that principle. And this auspicious occasion, Mr. Speaker, I wish to use the opportunity to extend heartfelt condolences to the family. We stand in absolute solidarity with the family, particularly the children, the NDC family, the Anglo constituency, and the Volta region. Mr. Speaker, without leaving Ghana, I say on this occasion, Baba now, Bubuto, Hedenui, Baba Kakaka, Mauta Miakakbe. Thank you.
Amen. To which
Speaker has done it already.
please, Honorable Nyindam, you have the floor.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity to also contribute to this noble statement made by our colleague in honor of His Excellency Victor Gbeho. Mr. Speaker, although I have not had any opportunity to meet him personally or interact with him, but if you look at his profile, even being a member of parliament, Mr. Speaker, is one of our own. And if you look at the profile, the contributions that is made to enhance democracy in this country, Mr. Speaker, I think that he deserves all the praises. We know and we pray that the good Lord will continue to give him a peaceful rest. Mr. Speaker, individuals like this, although served on political parties, but, Mr. Speaker, we should see them as icons that embraces both the MPP, the NDC, or whatever political party. We are supposed to see such individuals as role models, people that we can emulate. For somebody to go and serve as the president of ECOWAS, Mr. Speaker, is not a mere achievement. It is something that we all must emulate. It's not everybody who will get that opportunity. And for him to get such an opportunity, Mr. Speaker, I think that we should all learn from that. And Mr. Speaker, although if you look at the profile, he served just one term, which is from 2001 to 2005 as a member of parliament. I'm sure the people of Anglo have benefited enormously from him. And if today a statement like this is made in his honor, I will want to say that as a house, we must give him all the due respect. We must eulogize him. And Mr. Speaker, as members of parliament, we must respect ourselves. We should not just wait when one dies, then we begin to say all the good things about that person. Those of us who are alive now, let's see ourselves as one. Let's hold ourselves together and let's build Mother Ghana. So at the end of the day, Mr. Speaker, Ghana will be the ultimate beneficiary. With these few words, I sympathize with the family and I pray that the good Lord will continue to keep him. It is a journey we all embark on one day. We wish the family all the best. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Zuera.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and thank you for the opportunity. I'm immensely grateful. Mr. Speaker, I'm grateful because the Foreign Affairs Committee of Parliament has to add our voice to this statement that has made to eulogize the life of one of Ghana's leading diplomats. Mr. Speaker, growing up in this country and watching the political and administrative and governance landscape, the name Victor Gbeho always represented for us diplomacy, foreign affairs, international relations, and that was what it meant. And so, Mr. Speaker, I stand on behalf of the Foreign Affairs Committee of this House to thank the maker of the statement for eulogizing this diplomat who has been a role model to all of us. I also want to use this opportunity, Mr. Speaker, to pay the condolences of the Foreign Affairs Committee to the family and relatives of the departed diplomat, His Excellency Victor Gbeho. Victor Gbeho remains a reference point. Indeed, his family has already ingrained their name on the sands of time of this country. His father was the one who composed our national anthem. And true to the blood of patriotism, his son became a leading diplomat for this country. We are grateful to the Gbeho family, and we hope and pray that God Almighty will keep him in his bosom, that all of us, young people, will aspire to live the life of the Gbehos. For those of us who have been lucky to be in public service, Mr. Speaker, we need to emulate some of the values that the late Mr. Gbeho espoused. He had the way of being around, being there. You notice him, but he was always very quiet. And I personally am not the quiet type, but I admire that about him. I know, as recent as last year, when our current Foreign Affairs Minister was nominated into the portfolio of Foreign Affairs, at his vetting, one of the statements he left with us was that he had taken it upon himself to consult all the former diplomats and foreign ministers who had come before him. And one of the names he mentioned was Ambassador Victor Gbeho. May his soul rest in peace. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, minority leadership.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'm sure somebody will be wondering, well, why an Ashanti woman is up eulogizing a statesman from the Volta region at this point in time. Mr. Speaker, when I was growing up, I was actually looking up to so many people that I found appealing. And I must say, it's with a profound sadness that I joined Parliament and the people of Ghana in paying tribute to Ambassador Honorable James Victor Gbeho. He was an eminent diplomat, a distinguished public servant, and a consummate statesman whose passing marks the end of an extraordinary chapter of our Ghana diplomatic history. He was an exceptional man. I quite remember when I learned of his intention to become a member of Parliament, I was really surprised because I had always envisaged him as somebody who was true blood of a public servant and would not indulge in any kind of politicking. So I'm not surprised at all by the statement made by the maker of this tribute. He said he was one of those rare diplomats who never mistook power for greatness. While others sought influence through commanding speeches and public acclaim, he inspired confidence through quiet presence. Mr. Speaker, he actually distinguished himself to serve in the service of the Republic of Ghana. The ranks of the ministry, especially the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, where he started as a director of the ministry and rose to become a deputy minister of that particular ministry. And it was by dint of hard work. He had an exceptional distinction of integrity and humility. And that is what is expected of anyone who dedicates his life to serve our nation. Mr. Speaker, beyond our shores, Honorable Ambassador Victor Beho served with equal distinction as the United Nations Secretary General Special Representative for Somalia. And in all this, he distinguished himself. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Beho's life reminds us that diplomacy is one of the noblest instruments of a nation building. Through patience, dialogue, and principled engagement. And it is very important that we pay attention to these things. And it was, even though he was not an individual who was, I would say, affable, where so many people could engage him, but he always displayed a sense of responsibility, the care for the individual. On behalf of the Minority Caucus and the people I represent, I extend my deepest condolences to his family, loved ones, former colleagues, and all who mourn this great son of Ghana. May the Lord may he find comfort in the knowledge of the Lord, the great son of our pets, the life purpose, and left the indelible legacy in the service of his country, the African continent, and the international community. May the Almighty God grant him eternal rest, and may his memory continue.
Yes, majority.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, let me join colleagues to recognize a life of service, to recognize a very impactful life, a life worthy of emulation by all those who are truly committed to public service. Growing up, I observed Victor Beho as he served as foreign minister of our country under the presidency of Jerry John Rawlings. Later in life, I had the privilege of being the presidential spokesperson of the late President Evans Atta Mills. And at that time, Ambassador Victor Beho also served as his special advisor on foreign affairs. So we all served in the castle, which was then the seat of government. And so on a daily basis, I had the opportunity to meet with him, and we all worked towards a common boss. And so I had the opportunity to see very closely the quality of the man, Ambassador Victor Gbeho. Later, he left us at the presidency when a vacancy occurred at the ECOWAS Commission, when Dr. Ibn Chambers was leaving, I think, to ACP. So he took over as the ECOWAS commissioner. Again, he lifted high the image of our country. So this is a life that we are celebrating today, even though we are mourning his passing. But in between, he came to this house not as an NDC member of parliament, but as an independent member of parliament, but chose to caucus with the National Democratic Congress, because his coming to this house was a result of some deep internal disagreements in his constituency that necessitated the founder of the NDC, Flight Lieutenant Jerry John Rawlings, to support an independent candidate against his own party's candidate. And so Ambassador Victor Gbeho was sponsored and supported by the founder of the NDC to come to this house, because it became impossible to get the NDC candidate off the seat, even though the reports were that he was beginning to be a very big problem for the party in the constituencies. So he came as an independent member, even though he desired to return to this house. But towards the end of his tenure of office, the sitting member of parliament made it impossible for him to leave his party, to leave his position as an independent, and to be able to contest on the seat of the National Democratic Congress. So the party again had to find a way of getting a third person to contest at the primaries, and then to prevent the sitting member of parliament from returning to this house. So those were the circumstances. Otherwise, this was a peacemaker. This was somebody who held high the flag of Ghana. This was somebody who groomed so many diplomats, and today, many of those who are serving as many of those who are serving as many of those who are serving as diplomats today have undergone training from Ambassador Victor Gbeho, and that is why today you see in our foreign service a very rich set of foreign service personnel who continue to advance the interest of Ghana. Let me conclude by conveying to the family the condolences of this house and a recognition that a great tree has fallen, but we sympathize with them, and this house will actively participate in the funeral of His Excellency Ambassador Victor Gbeho to give him a befitting farewell in recognition of his enormous contribution to this country. I thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable members, the funeral is at the forecourt of the State House. Tomorrow, it starts at 7 o'clock, and you are all cordially invited. Honourable members, let's observe a minute silence. Honourable members, may his gentle soul rest in perfect peace. Amen. We have another statement in honor of His Excellency Professor Atta Mills. Honourable Member for Akumfi constituency, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to make a statement on the occasion of the 14th memorial anniversary of the late President of the Republic of Ghana, His Excellency Professor John Evans Fifi Atta Mills. Mr. Speaker, it's with profound humility, a deep sense of reverence, and a profound sense of honor to commemorate the statement on the 14th anniversary of His Excellency Professor J.E.A. Mills, the third President of the Fourth Republic of Ghana, held on Friday, 24th July 2026. Mr. Speaker, this is not another memorial statement. For me, it's a sacred responsibility. I stand here not only as a member of this august house, but more importantly, as the elected representative of the good people of Akumfi, the land that gave birth to one of Ghana's most distinguished statesmen, an exceptional scholar, a patriot without blemish, and a president whose name has become synonymous with humility, integrity, peace, and selfless service. Mr. Speaker, the good people of Akumfi and Cape Coast remember an illustrious son. Ghana remembers an exceptional leader and a statesman. We remember the young boy whose remarkable journey from our coastal communities to the high office of the Republic became a source of hope and inspiration for generations of Ghanaians. His story reminds every child in Akumfi and Cape Coast and across Ghana that greatness is born not from privilege, but from discipline, hard work, integrity, and an unwavering commitment to excellence. Mr. Speaker, 14 years after his passage, the legacy of Professor Atta Mills has not diminished. President Mills demonstrated that true greatness is measured by character, compassion, humility, and an unwavering commitment to the national interest. He possessed immense authority, but wore it with uncommon humility. He commanded power, but exercised it with restraint. He occupied the highest office of the land, yet remained remarkably accessible, modest, and deeply connected to the ordinary Ghanaian. Mr. Speaker, is the mark of a true statesman. History will forever remember President Mills as a leader who placed Ghana above politics. His immortal declaration that he would rather lose power than lose the peace of Ghana remains one of the most noble expressions of the democratic leadership of this country. Mr. Speaker, on that Friday at the wreath-laying ceremony at the Asomdwe Park, His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama reminded the nation that the most fitting tribute we can pay to Professor J.E.A. Mills is not merely through annual commemorations, but by living the values that he embodied: humility in leadership, integrity in public life, and accountability in governance, and an unshakable commitment to the peace and unity of our republic. Those words resonate deeply because they capture the very essence of the man we honor. Indeed, history has elevated Professor J.E.A. Mills into the distinguished company of Ghana's enduring statesmen, whose life shaped the conscience of our nation. He taught us that true leadership is exercised in humility, that authority derives its legitimacy from integrity, and that the highest honor in public office is to leave behind a united and peaceful nation. As we commemorate this 14th anniversary, let us resolve that the ideals for which he lived will not remain mere inscriptions in our history books, but enduring principles that guide our conduct in this House and inspire generations of Ghanaians yet unborn. Mr. Speaker, as the Member of Parliament for Ekumfi, I can confidently say that our people from Ekumfi and Cape Coast remain immensely proud that this great son of Ghana hailed from our beloved constituencies. The greatest tributes we can pay to the memory of Professor J.E.A. Mills is not to remember him once every year. It is to emulate the values to uphold integrity in public office, to defend peace of our republic, to protect our democratic institutions, and to place Ghana above every personal or political consideration. Mr. Speaker, on this solemn occasion, I respectfully acknowledge Mrs. Ernestina Nadu Mills, his beloved wife, Mr. Samuel Kofi Atta Mills, his son, Mr. Kadman Atta Mills, his brother, and our own very honorable Samuel Atta Mills, Member of Parliament for KEEA, and the entire Atta Mills family and all Ghanaians who continue to cherish the memory of this remarkable patriot. Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the chiefs of the people of Ekumfi and Cape Coast, and in my capacity as a representative of Ekumfi, I pay a glowing tribute to our distinguished son, our pride and our enduring national icon. May the memory of His Excellency, Professor John Evans Fifi Atta Mills, continue to inspire this Parliament, guide future generations of leaders, and strengthen our collective resolve to build a peaceful, united, prosperous, and just Ghana that he passionately so believed in. May his gentle soul continue to rest in peace. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable Member, that is a statement in honor of our former president. The floor is now open for comment. Yes.
Thank you very much,
Honourable
Mr.
Fifi.
Speaker. Mr. Speaker, may I commend the maker of the statement and align with all the good qualities that he has espoused in respect of His Excellency Professor John Evans Atta Mills of blessed memory. Mr. Speaker, I want to share a personal experience with the man to show how humble, how gentle, how kind-hearted he was. Mr. Speaker, in 2009, I was at the law school in Makola, and payment of my school fees, Mr. Speaker, was problematic. So I remember one stout member of the NDC, Madam Araba Tegu of blessed memory, gave me her number that call old man. It was a Thursday evening, 7 o'clock. I called his line, and the President of the Republic of Ghana, John Evans Atta Mills, picked it. 7 p.m. I told him, my name is Philip Fifi Bachman. I'm at the law school. I have a challenge with my school fees. What he said was, to wait, but I don't know you. What I told him was, yes, you don't know me, but I'm a Ghanaian, so I'm your son. He laughed and said, Tuesday morning, meet me at the castle. I remember vividly, that day was a day satellite had won the World Cup and were coming to Ghana. It was the morning. Tuesday morning, 8 o'clock, I escaped my industrial law class and went to the castle. I called at 8 o'clock, his phone was not ringing. I called again, it wasn't ringing. So I went to the receptionist and told him, old man says that when I come, you should call him for me. He called and the phone wasn't going through. He told me that probably they were having morning devotion, so I should wait. About 15 minutes time, the aide-de-camp came and said that the man said I should come. Whilst we were going, what the aide-de-camp told me was that I should hurry up because it was because of me that the president of the Republic of Ghana had come to the office because he said a student was to meet him over there. Mr. Speaker, he took me to his office, the two of us. He handed to me an envelope which contained my school fees and whatever I needed to sort myself out with. Mr. Speaker, I want to say this because I have said it on several occasions and many platforms, but I want to use this opportunity to pray to God that such a humble president, such a humble soul, may we have replicas of him in our state. May we have many of such souls in our state, touching lives and making people, even ordinary people, feel cherished. Not because we are just human beings, but because they think or they see all of us as humans. May his soul, his gentle soul, rest in perfect peace. Mr. Speaker, I'm very grateful.
Thank you. Yes, Honorable Zuera.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, before I say anything, let me pass on my condolences to the JEA Mills families of Ekumfi and Cape Coast. And may we all pray for the soul of our late president to receive in the arms of the Almighty Allah. Mr. Speaker, on Wednesday, 22nd July, I attended the lecture, memorial lecture, in the memory of this great president that this country lost. And it was a lecture delivered by no mean person than Professor Frimpong Boateng of Korle Bu Teaching Hospital fame. And Mr. Speaker, after the lecture, I chanced upon this quote on Facebook, and it was a post from Ben Doche-Malo, who works at the United Nations in New York and who used to work at the presidency here in Ghana. And this is what he had to say, Mr. Speaker, and I quote, Professor Frimpong Boateng's lecture in honor of the late President Mills must be studied by every conscientious Ghanaian, unquote. Mr. Speaker, that was the crux of the lecture. I sat in the lecture, and Mr. Speaker, I saw you there. A lot of prominent Ghanaians were there. Mr. Kwame Pianim, a renowned economist of this country, I saw him at the lecture. I saw Madame Faustina Nelson. I saw Uncle Ato Ahoy, as we affectionately call him. Everyone who mattered in the politics of this country was present at that lecture. And as I sat there, Mr. Speaker, listening to Professor Frimpong Boateng, I said to myself, you could not be any more candid. Candidness was what I felt. A certain level of integrity that enabled Professor Frimpong Boateng to put the issues exactly where they belonged, to acclaim this man that Ghana lost as a president. Mr. Speaker, I had a personal encounter with Professor J.E. Mills in March 2011. Ghana had been booked to play a friendly with England in London at the Wembley Park. I was the head of information at the Ghana mission. But I needed to come to Ghana on the 11th of March to attend to some personal family issues. I was sitting on the flight, British Airways, when I got a call. And the call was from Mr. Koku Anyidohu, who was then the head of communications at the presidency. And he said, "My sister, where are you?" I said, "I'm on a plane coming to Accra." I said, "Really?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Call me as soon as you get to Accra. There's a matter about the High Commission that I need to discuss with you." Immediately, I started getting anxious. So I persisted. I tried to find out what is the issue. And he said to me that someone had sent a text message to those who were not in the era of WhatsApp yet. It was still SMS. Someone has sent an SMS to the president. And that SMS had really agitated the president. He wants to understand what is going on at the Ghana mission. So I asked him, what is the SMS about? He said, there's a friendly coming between the Black Stars and England. And I said, yes. And that the communication package of that friendly had been handed over to a communication person who was anti-establishment. So I told him that I wasn't aware of that detail, but I'll try and find out. So we hung up, and then he called me again and said, "The president wants to see you tomorrow at 11 o'clock. Come to the castle at 11 o'clock. I was sitting on this flight, panicking all the way from London to Accra. I got here, and then I went to the castle the next day. And the issue was very simple. The president asked me what is going on. I told him what I knew. Then, Mr. Speaker, he called Ambassador Tinkran and said, "Call me the Minister of Foreign Affairs. Call the Director of Research." And I was sitting there, and the president was sending for everybody.
The time has operated against you. So, Honorable Boama, you have the floor.
Grateful, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to comment on a statement ably made by my colleague Member of Parliament for Ekumfi. Mr. Speaker, it's just humbling that today we are paying again tribute to one of the illustrious sons of this country, but importantly, a former president of the Republic, President Atta Mills, 11th president of Ghana since our independence. And we cannot say much than to thank him for the life well lived because of the contributions he made to the development of this country. Mr. Speaker, Professor Mills was born in Takwa. And so those of us from the Western region also take some solace in the fact that his foundation was properly laid in the Western region. And when you listen to his fancy, at times we say that it is laced with some fancy from the Western region. Becoming a doctor at age 27 is very remarkable because if you take our educational journey and you consider someone attaining PhD at the age of 27, it tells you how well educated and how smart he was as an individual, even at the tender age. But, Mr. Speaker, one big area I would like to remember Professor Mills for, coming from Ghana Revenue Authority, which now has incorporated Internal Revenue Service and VAT, amongst others, is the long time that he served as Commissioner for Internal Revenue Service. Professor Mills was appointed an acting commissioner in 1988 as an acting commissioner for Internal Revenue Service. And he acted in that capacity till 1993. So that was close to about 5 years. And then he continued as a substantive commissioner from 1993 to 1996 as a commissioner of Internal Revenue. In fact, if you take the tax laws of this country, particularly the income tax, you will smell Professor Mills' writings in the legislations that were passed at the time. And as the president of Ghana, we all remember him for his soberness, his calmness. In fact, he had this name attached to him as Asumdwehene, to which the king of peace. And he showed it all across his life until his untimely demise. I remember when this issue happened, I was somewhere outside this country, and I couldn't believe my ears that Ghana has lost a certain president in the person of Professor Mills. Even with these 14 years down the line, we still feel it as a country that we lost one of our greatest gems. He did his best for this country, and we pay homage to him. We want to send our deepest condolences to his family, the wife, Nadu Mills, my senior brother, Doc, our member of parliament for KE. I call him Mr. President. My deepest condolences to you, senior. And I know that the good Lord that has kept the family together will continue to keep you. Your name, Mills, always rings a bell for us to remember President Mills for his work he did for this country. I want to wish the family well, and this house also, in appreciating today the work that Professor Mills did for the people of Ghana. Mr. Speaker, I want to thank you for the opportunity in this. I thank you.
Yes, Honorable Samson here, I'll come to you, but let me take him. Yes, you have the floor. Yes.
Right Honorable Speaker, first of all, I would like to also use the opportunity to also pay glowing tribute to the man we famously called Asumdwehene. Professor Mills lived beyond the political lines. He always stretched the hand of friendship to even his adversaries. For me, he's not a man that you have to wait to meet before you get to like. He demonstrated true sportsmanship, and for me, was somebody who defined democracy. And so, also as a sportsman, a former hockey player, he also loved the very essence of sports. Mr. Speaker, even though Prof is dead and gone, this is not a man you can remember as far as infrastructure is concerned, but it's a man you can remember as far as love, passion, compassion, and character is concerned. He tolerated divergent views and never saw his political opponents as enemies. He accepted criticisms in good faith and never imprisoned even people he disagreed with. This was a man that, this is a man that, Mr. Speaker, I believe that modern day NDC activists and NDC officials must emulate. I'm very sure that if Prof was to be alive today, he definitely would have spoken against some of the ills in our society. Mr. Speaker, let me tell you an interesting thing. I happen to be Director for Operations for the then Alliance for Accountable Governance, AFAG. And that time, Dr. Nana Ufre, your good friend, was leader of the AFAG. Mr. Speaker, I wanted to have our first demonstration when Barack Hussein Obama was coming to Ghana. The police secured an injunction against our demonstration. Prof said, Mama Wonye, it's on there. Barack Obama ni chrome home po every day why a demonstration. To it, there should be freedom of speech, freedom of association, freedom of gathering, regardless of even the times. He even disagreed with the police when they even took an injunction. Even though we were earmarked to have the demonstration around the same time that Barack Obama was coming. His gesture We gave him that respect and cooperation and postponed it. I pray that the legacy of Professor Mills can run through the veins of the NDC leadership today. I pray the legacy of Professor Mills will reflect in the governance of today's NDC government. When people ask for even jobs, don't give them jail sentence. That's how Prof was. Mr. Speaker, I know that this is not in my place to say. Anytime I see Prof's brother, Samuel Atamil, Senior, Honorable, he reminds me of his late brother. Mr. Speaker, if my small mouth can reach your big desk, intervene so that Senior Atamils can also get his share in the NDC government. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Thank you for the opportunity.
Honorable Samson Ahi.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to associate myself in paying tribute to the late Professor Mills, former president of the Republic of Ghana. Mr. Speaker, one can describe Professor Mills as a selfless leader, humble, peaceful in nature, honest, had integrity, and was compassionate. You can describe all good qualities. You can associate Professor Mills with it. Professor Mills served Ghana diligently, and I remember in 2000, when Professor Mills lost to J.A. Kufuor, he willingly came out to concede defeat and congratulated President Kufuor. He did that on 2 occasions. There are some leaders, there are some candidates who, when they lose elections, they will struggle to accept defeat and raise a lot of tension in the country. But Professor Mills was a different human being altogether. He willingly accepted defeat. And that created a lot of peaceful atmosphere in the country. Mr. Speaker, Professor Mills, during his inaugural ceremony in 2009, in his address, he stated that he will be a father for all. Professor Mills said that he will be father for all. This statement, even some NDC people were not comfortable with this statement. But Professor Mills stood on his ground, and what he did in office amplified this vision that he will serve, he will behave like a father for all. So irrespective of whether you voted for him or you didn't vote for him, he will handle it. Whether a region voted for him, a constituency didn't vote for him, when it comes to development, Professor Mills will provide evenly development to all regions. To all regions. Whether you voted for him or not. Whether you were from Eastern region, that you voted for him, or from Volta region, that you voted for him, Professor Mills will deal with you as citizens of Ghana. Because he believes that the resources of the nation belongs to the people, and that must be used to serve everybody. So, Mr. Speaker, Professor Mills was a legal scholar. I'm sure we have a lot of colleagues, lawyers here, who were taught by Professor Mills. Professor Mills was a task aspect. Mr. Speaker, Professor Mills became a vice president and became a president. One can say that he paid his due before he was called by his maker. And today, as we pay tribute to him, what we can say, that we pray for Almighty God to grant him a place so that when judgment comes, all of us will go and meet him and render account to our Maker. May his soul rest in perfect peace. Thank you for the opportunity, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Jerry Ahmed.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much for this opportunity. Mr. Speaker, let me commend the maker of this statement on the occasion of the 14th memorial anniversary of the late President of the Republic of Ghana, His Excellency J.E.A. Mills. And Mr. Speaker, I do this in remembrance of Professor Mills for several reasons. And I'm excited that we are taking this statement without being partisan or political about it. Mr. Speaker, I remember I'd gone to take an injection at the hospital, and that was when the news broke. I didn't see how tears came because I wasn't an ardent supporter of Professor Mills. But I just realized that tears started flowing uncontrollably. And Mr. Speaker, when this started, I started advising myself as to how to respect any politician, irrespective of the person's political affiliation. Mr. Speaker, I stand here as someone who got converted fully after Professor Mills' demise on few issues. One, as to how to relate with people and how to be submissive and show humility. Professor Mills was a very humble man. He was always submissive to people, irrespective of their level, whether you are a president, whether you are a Kayayo, whoever. He showed humility. Mr. Speaker, Professor Mills was a very kind man. My colleague, Honorable Samia Oku, made reference to when we had to go on a demonstration. And even the words he uttered were very kind words. And that got us to rescind our decision. Mr. Speaker, there was one aspect of Professor Mills that I still feel we are losing out on. He is the man who spoke the truth and ensured that whatever he said, he stood by his words. Mr. Speaker, this was Professor Mills. And Mr. Speaker, I am happy that as Chief Executive of the then Coastal Development Authority, President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo found it worthy for us to refurbish and rehabilitate the Asumdwe Park. The park that was deserted for several reasons. Mr. Speaker, Professor Mills showed us a lot of things. That there is no reason for anybody to be vindictive, and that we do not control our lives. That irrespective of whoever you are, wherever you are coming from, when it is your time, you will be called by the Lord, our Maker. Mr. Speaker, Professor Mills is synonymous with accountability. That anytime he had the opportunity of telling the Ghanaian people that I was going to do A, he did A, and when he even got to power, he didn't change. What we see now, Mr. Speaker, is a polar extremity, a departure from what Professor Mills taught us. Mr. Speaker, as I conclude, I'll call on all of us that we should not just be saying things and be remembering Professor Mills and we'll go back to sleep without living and emulating his lifestyle. At least the ones that we saw which were proper. I pray that God will keep him in his best of bosoms till we meet again. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity.
Yes, majority.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Professor Evans Fifi Atta-Mills will definitely be fondly remembered by the good people of Ghana, because this is one person who clearly lived his convictions about what the essence of occupying public office is. On several occasions, he told me that the only reason why we should seek public office is to use the office for the welfare of the ordinary people of this country. That is the only reason why we should seek public office. If it is to serve personal interests, if it is to serve partisan interests, then it is not worth it. So consistently, he reminded me that the reason why we were seeking public office was to serve the interest of the ordinary person. And so his life as president was lived in fulfillment of this abiding vision that he had. And if there's anything that we can learn from his life, we those who occupy public office today must appreciate that the only reason why we seek public office is to serve the interest of the ordinary person. I believe that if we appreciate this principle and abide by it, this country will indeed travel very far. I recall at that time, I was his spokesperson when he became president, and we came under enormous pressure because Professor Mills had assumed office and had decided that he was not going to sack the metropolitan, municipal, and district chief executives that we met in office. He was not going to sack them. And as spokesperson, I came under a lot of pressure. Why were we not sacking all officials that we had met in office? And of course, people were reacting to what had happened previously, because there had been a transition before from Jerry John Rawlings to President Kufuor. And people saw what happened. And they were expecting the transition from Kufuor to President Mills to be exactly what it was between Jerry John Rawlings and President Kufuor under the NPP. But President Atta Mills refused, resisted, and that was when he declared that he was abiding by his public declaration at his inauguration that he shall be father for all. I hope that as politicians, again, we realize that that is a fundamental principle that we should learn from the life of President Evans Atta Mills. He gave so many young people the opportunity to serve as deputy ministers, deputy CEOs, and groomed the current generation of the leadership of the National Democratic Congress, who are now running this country, from the president to many of our ministers.
Two more minutes.
So thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. So the principle of uniting the country, being fair to all sides, and bringing everybody along was central to the style of governance of President Evans Atta Mills. And today, let me tell you why. Let me tell you why, because he told me why we had to do that. If you recall, that election, we had to go through 3 different elections to arrive at the determination of the winner. 3 different elections. And so when we finally went to time and the presidency was determined, the country was evenly divided. Evenly divided. Half of the country was clearly NPP, and half of the country was clearly NDC. So based on the results of the elections. So when people were pushing that we should go all out there and go for every NPP person, His Excellency President Evans Atta Mills turned to me and said, how are you going to run a country with just half of the people if the other half refuse to cooperate with you? So we need to carry everybody along. And we need to treat everybody fairly, and we need to let everybody appreciate that we have one country to run. That was the principle that informed his style of governance. So, Mr. Speaker, there are many things that I can say about Atta Mills because I worked so closely with him that last week, when I met his son, Samuel Kofi Atta Mills, and his wife, he turned to his wife and said, this is the first son of my father, I'm just the second son. Because everybody at that time knew me as a son of Evans Atta Mills. We will continue to remember him, we will continue to fight for the values that he stood for, and will continue to be an example of the kind of leadership that he offered to this country. I urge to remember President John Evans Atta Mills. I thank you so much, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable members, just as I called the leader, I saw Honourable Samuel Atta Mills on his feet. This is not usual of me, but I want to give him the floor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I would like to thank...
Honourable members, let us not lose sight of the fact that we are in Parliament.
I would like to
Honourable
thank...
member, why are you shouting so loud like that? Honourable member, you don't do that. We are in Parliament, so we need to behave honourably. Yes, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I would like to thank the maker of the statement and all those who have spoken kind words about Professor John Evans Atta Mills. The family is very, very grateful. And those of us left behind, we will try our best to make sure that we try to exemplify the life that he had. Most of the things that happened at the castle, I cannot talk about because he's not here to respond. But I can only talk about myself and things that we went through. I said this at the last time that we had a speech at UPSA. But the admonition that he gave me was, working at the castle, I had to buy my own car. And he told me that I shouldn't get any driver to drive me from the castle. Then he also told me that don't get even a drop of oil, petrol, from the castle. Yes, he was paying other people's school fees, but I was buying my own petrol. And there was a day that I had to go to a car wash before I traveled with him. I went there, the chief of staff then, his driver came there with his car to come and wash. And when he was leaving, he told the attendants that, hey, there's a big man over here, so wash his car. And what they told him was, if this guy was a big man, he would have allowed his driver to bring the car. I sat down there for about 2 hours, waiting. I was there when all of a sudden a dispatch rider came there. And when he came, he said, hey, your brother has been waiting for you. He wants to travel with you. So he had to go and tell the attendants to wash my car. At that time, I think it was 5 cedis, or maybe 3 cedis. So they washed my car, and I was able to leave and go to the castle. Of course, he wasn't happy that I had stayed at the car wash for such a long time. I told him the story, and I thought he had forgotten about it. So we traveled, we went to, I think it was Sunyani, and everybody came around. Hey, your brother's looking for you. Hey, what's the problem? He's sitting on a podium trying to recollect his thoughts and then say something. So when I walked up to him, he looked at me and asked me, so when are you going to get your car washed again? Big brother, they just told me that I'm not a big man. I still take my car to the car wash. But instead of paying 3 cedis or 5 cedis, now it costs me sometimes 2,000. Because people have come to recognize me. And instead of the normal 50 cedis, everybody lines up. That, hey, Honorable, give us something. But it was interesting working with him. He's my brother, so what else can I say? Thank you very much.
Honourable members, that brings us to the end of the statement for today. Honourable members, my attention has been drawn to the fact that we need to have a committee of the whole. So I would at this point constitute the House into a committee of the whole. Yes, committee of the whole. Marshal, as usual, you may clear the gallery until the committee makes a determination to that effect. Honourable members, if you can get closer.